Winnipeg was the starting off point for our polar bear adventure with Tauck, a United States Tour Operators Association member, and we had 2 days to explore this capital city of Manitoba. With local guides, we had the in-depth behind-the-scenes tour of the city, as well as the Forks area, where Winnipeg's two rivers meet. This area was a meeting and trading place for over 6,000 years. And now the area has been turned from a rail yard to a lively marketplace and gathering point for locals and tourists. You get to come here to Winnipeg and have a tour of the town and spend some time learning about Manitoba before you head up to Churchill. It's a great way to get some background and some context to the whole experience. We had an engaging tour of Manitoba's legislative building. There was so much hidden symbolism in the art and sculpture that I was so thankful we had a guide, or I would have missed it all. The Canadian Museum for Human Rights had just opened, so we were glad that we were able to take a tour. The building itself is an architectural masterpiece, and the displays inside were interactive, informative, and very creative. This was quite more contemporary than most museums that I've seen. Our evening welcome party was held at the Manitoba Museum after hours. We had the museum all to ourselves. We're here at the Manitoba Museum after hours, so no one else is here. They allow you to have a private tour where you can walk through and learn so much more about the history and culture of Manitoba. Having this opportunity to have a crash course in Manitoba history, wildlife, and culture made all the difference later on in our trip. We were also treated to a Cree hoop dance. And later we got to see another special treat of the museum. And for me, the highlight is being able to walk on board this, a replica of the Nonsuch, which is such a well-crafted piece of history. It's a real pirate ship. This boat had sailed in 1668 as the first trading vessel for the Hudson Bay Company, and we could walk all through this pristine replica. And after getting to explore this magnificent replica of the Nonsuch, you get to have a delicious dinner right here on shore. At dinner, we were able to get to know our fellow travelers and the guides before we headed up north for the experience of a lifetime. Our private charter plane touched down 1,000 miles north in Churchill, and the adventure had really begun. The snow added to the ambiance of this small town with a big title, the polar bear capital of the world. And when you are in Churchill, you have to get out on the tundra. This vast, harsh landscape is beautifully rugged, and we were lucky enough to not just see the polar bears, but to actually interact with them as they came right up to our crawler. The tundra has more life than I could have possibly imagined, and a lot of history too. Here in Churchill, they don't have any fences, so a polar bear could actually just walk right down the middle of Main Street. And that's why they have this group called the Polar Bear Alert System with highly trained individuals who know what to do if a polar bear does come into town. Now, if you happen to see a polar bear, don't worry. Everybody here in Churchill leaves their cars open. So you just run into a car and start honking like crazy, and everybody will know that that means a polar bear is on the loose and you will be safe. And for those bad bears, they have the Polar Bear Jail right behind me, which can house up to 26 bears who've been misbehaving and becoming a little too friendly in town. Right now they have 13 bears in there, and pretty soon they're going to airlift them out up far away from Churchill so those bad bears hopefully don't come back. And this is how you catch polar bears, right here in this polar bear trap. The locals say that they bait the bears with, any guesses? Bacon. The Eskimo Museum houses one of Canada's most comprehensive collections of Inuit artifacts and sculpture. And this is another example of how Tauck, a USTOA member, provides its passengers with context and information, so we had an even deeper appreciation of the culture that we were experiencing. And of course, you can't miss Churchill's post office.
For a great souvenir, don't forget to stop by the post office because they'll stamp your passport with this cool stamp. It's a polar bear.
Up here in Churchill, animals and people coexist in harmony, and it's really special for us to get to become a part of Manitoba's story for our brief stay.